You ever wonder why you suddenly desperately want something just because it seems like everyone else has it? Well, today we're going to dive into the bandwagon effect, a sneaky little cognitive bias that's secretly pulling the strings on our choices every single day.
Come on, be honest. You've seen that restaurant with a line wrapped around the block and thought, wow, I have to try that place. Or maybe it was that crypto coin everyone was suddenly getting rich off of. Or that, let's just say, questionable fashion trend you just couldn't resist. Yeah, we've all been there.
So what's really going on here? At its core, the bandwagon effect is our deep-seated instinct to just follow the herd. We see a crowd moving in one direction and our brain basically goes, hey, they must know something I don't. But here's the scary question. What if that crowd is heading straight for a cliff?
To really get a handle on just how high the stakes can be with this psychological pull, we've got to travel back in time. We're going to look at a tragic, cautionary tale where following the crowd had, well, truly devastating consequences.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1889. There's this super lavish resort. Think of it as the Mar-a-Lago of its day. It's packed with all the richest and most powerful people, the titans of industry. And they'd invested a ton of money to create this exclusive little playground. The only problem? It was built right downstream from a huge, poorly maintained dam. Engineers were sounding the alarm, but nobody listened. I mean, if all these brilliant, successful people weren't worried, why should anyone else be?
The chain of events was just terrifyingly simple. First, the warnings were there, and they were ignored. Then came a storm of historic proportions, and then the dam broke. That collective confidence, that everybody's doing it feeling, created this false sense of security that held up right until the moment it all came crashing down. 16 million tons of water. Can you even picture that? The entire lake just unleashed in a single instant. The force was absolutely unimaginable.
This wasn't just some flood. This was a 40-foot-tall monster wave. It was moving with so much power that it was tossing 170,000-pound locomotives around like they were bath toys. It just ripped buildings from their foundations and completely wiped parts of the town off the map.
And this is the ultimate price of that collective blindness. More than 2,200 people lost their lives, making it the deadliest flood in American history. It's just a heartbreaking, tragic lesson in how the bandwagon effect can lead to a disaster that was completely avoidable.
Now, it's really easy for us to look back at a story like that and think, how could they have been so blind? But here's the thing. That exact same psychological pull is happening all around us today in everything from our finances to our Instagram feeds. Think about the whole crypto craze, right? People were pouring their life savings into digital coins, not because they'd done the research, but because of the hype. The stories of overnight millionaires created this massive fear of missing out that totally overshadowed the huge risks. And you see the same dynamic in politics, where sticking to a party line can feel safer than actually questioning a candidate's flaws, even when those flaws are staring you right in the face. But hey, it's not all so serious. On the much lighter side, have you seen this trend? One day, cottage cheese is just, cottage cheese. The next minute, thanks to a few viral videos, everybody is blending it, freezing it, and swearing it's the next great healthy dessert.
Or how about this one? Influencers posting these giant platters of raw liver and hearts, claiming all these ancient health benefits. The social media buzz just gets way out ahead of the science, but people jump on board because, hey, they see other people doing it. And then you get to the really dangerous end of the spectrum. These viral challenges that convince young people to do things that are obviously incredibly harmful. It's a pretty chilling reminder of how powerful that desire to fit in and participate can be, even when it completely defies logic. So why? Why are we so easily pulled in by this? It's not because we're dumb. It's because our brains are hardwired with some very specific, very powerful shortcuts and needs. It really all boils down to three key things. First, our brains are kind of lazy. It's just so much easier to follow the crowd than to do all the hard work of our own research. Second, we're social creatures to our core. We have this fundamental need to belong. And finally, you've got good old FOMO, the fear of missing out. We see everyone else having fun or getting rich, and we want in on the action. Okay, so knowing all this is one thing. But how do you actually resist that pull in the moment? Well, the good news is you absolutely can. It just takes a little bit of conscious effort and a shift in your mindset.
And this quote right here, it perfectly captures the mindset of a classic independent thinker. Warren Buffett literally built his fortune by doing the opposite of what everyone else was doing. He understood that the crowd is almost always driven by emotion, not logic, and that creates massive opportunities for anyone who can keep a clear head.
So here are 3 tips you can start using today. First, get comfortable with making the unpopular choice. The path less traveled is often where the real wisdom is. Second, stay curious. Ask why a lot. Slow things down, give yourself some space to think before you jump in. And finally, have the guts to be your own trendsetter. I mean, remember Galileo? He was an outcast for saying the Earth revolved around the sun. Today's rebels are often tomorrow's visionaries.
So, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this simple question. Knowing about the bandwagon effect gives you a choice. You can keep following the path that everyone else is on, or you can have the courage to stop, look around, and decide for yourself if there's a better way forward. The choice is yours.